Welcome to day 4 of the 365-day run of the podcast. Today, I will be continuing the conversation on productivity and focus and time management and all of those good things. Yesterday, I spoke about how I time block and put everything in my calendar. And today, I'm going to talk more about other things that I have done, and will try to do this year to add on. As always, none of this is advice for your life. Take what works for you, try things out. If it doesn't work, discard it. People are different, and what works for one person may not work for another person. Continuing with the idea of putting everything in my calendar, something else besides my calendar, I have many note-taking tools that I use for different purposes. I use Telegram, sending a message to myself on Telegram as a way to take notes of things that I need to do really quickly. So I might schedule the message to myself so that I can do it, like, call this person, do that, do this. Sometimes I'll also put that in Google Tasks. Sometimes I will put things in Google Keep. So I use Google Keep mostly for ideas of things I want to talk about or write. Like, for the past couple of days since I have committed to doing this 365-day podcast, I write all the ideas that I have to talk about in a specific Google Keep notes that I keep updating daily, or from moments whenever I have an idea, I just put it into that Google Keep note. I also write things in my Remarkable tab. That's one other place where I keep notes. So I have like 4 or 5 different places where I keep notes of different types of things, and I know what I put where, so that way I don't have to search frantically for anything that I need when I need it. And then I have a tagging system in the things that allow a tagging system. I also use Notion, but I don't use it for like note taking in that sense, like to remember things. I use it for something else entirely. How I want to improve on my writing everything down this year is to track my time, to track what I do daily. So not necessarily in the details of from 9 a.m. to 9:15 I had a meeting, and then 9:15 to 9:20 I ate food. Like, not that kind of tracking of what I'm doing every day, because I tried to do that last year. It was hectic. After like 4 days, I stopped because it's like I don't have energy for this. But I'm going to do the time tracking thing in like tags, so to say, like broad tags. So work projects, exercise, family, maintenance, those kinds of things. I haven't finished creating all the categories I want to use. And of course, as I keep tracking, I will change and update the categories. But yeah, generally a sense of, well, I want to know what I'm doing every day, because so that I can see where I'm wasting my time and how to stop it. I already uninstalled all my social media, and I left Twitter since like middle of last year, and Instagram at the end of last year, and I'm going to stay off those two for the year at least and see how that goes. But yeah, time tracking is what I'm going to add on to my writing everything down. Another thing that I started doing a while ago was to think about who I wanted to become instead of a thing that I wanted to do in terms of goal settings. It doesn't work for every single kind of goal, but in general, I'm going to use health as an example because it's the beginning of the year, and that's something people tend to think about in the beginning of the year. I want to go to the gym more. I want to do all those kinds of things. I want to lose X kg or X pounds. And instead of thinking about it from that sense of what you want to lose or get rid of, or those like strict numbers that I've hit this number and that's it, think of more about the habits that you want to develop, the kind of person you want to be. So think of, I am a fit and healthy person who works out and eats healthy, versus I am somebody who needs to lose weight, right? And if you think about it that way, you visualize who you are, and that's the concept of visualization, seeing yourself how you want to be, right? And DDK puts it as putting yourself where you see yourself. So in addition to that idea of putting yourself where you see yourself and positive framing, something else to think about is to make it as easy as possible for yourself to build the habits by doing things that you enjoy. So for example, I said yesterday that I'm focusing on my Dutch, and instead of like doing something crazy, I'm going to spend 1 hour a day practicing Dutch. I'm not going to do that. Like, let's be realistic. So I decided that I'm going to do 15 minutes every day. 15 minutes is small. I can do 15 minutes, and I know I can do 15 minutes. So every day I practice 15 minutes of Dutch using an app called Busu, which I prefer to Duolingo. That way, the goal is to become a person that does something versus to end up at a certain point. Because what tends to happen with goals that have like, I want to lose this kg and I want to do that, is that once you get to that point, you're not necessarily going to challenge yourself anymore. It's like, oh, I've achieved the goal and I can rest. And then that's what leads to us reverting to past terrible behaviors and habits. But if you think about developing a habit and making it as easy for yourself as possible in ways that you enjoy, and James Clear talks a lot about this, so you can check him out if you want to see more about that. But yeah, that is that. And then what I'm going to add on to that is habit tracking. So with habit tracking, I've picked like 5 or 6 things that I want to do consistently, and I am going to track whether I do them every day. I'm starting with 6. There are a couple of other things I want to do, way more than 6 things, but I'm starting with 6 things because it's manageable and it's easy for me to remain consistent instead of trying to keep track of 12 things every day. For me, one of those 6 things is drinking 2 liters of water every day. And something that I did to help myself make that easy is I have a 2-liter water bottle. So I fill it up in the morning, and then it has like lines that show you like when it's at 500, 750, etc. So that way I'm literally keeping track of how much water I'm drinking every day. And at night when I'm going to sleep, I simply just look at my bottle. Is it empty? No, if it's not empty, I empty it. I drink all of it and then I take it in the habit tracker. So my habit tracker is in Notion currently. I just started doing that, but you can do it anywhere you like. You can do it on paper, you can buy a calendar and literally cross things off. But the idea is that there's the feedback that you get from crossing these things out, and it motivates you. It's like keeping yourself accountable, because imagine walking past your calendar or your habit tracker and you see like for the past 7 days you haven't ticked anything. You'll be so disappointed in yourself, and you don't want to feel that way. So you just do what you need to do so you can feel proud of yourself. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to James Clear's article on habit tracking. So yeah, check it out if you haven't done something like that. So yeah, like I said, you don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do what anybody does. What is important is for you to try different things out and see what works for you, and you can adjust whatever part of a process that, even if you see something from somebody else that you want to try, you can adjust it if it doesn't work for you the exact same way that it works for them. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of A Couple of Things. If you enjoyed this episode or found any part of it insightful, don't forget to share with your friends on your social media, and be sure to leave a comment or a review if you can on your podcast listening app. Thank you.